For this time, and sure enough, all these whales came swimming up to the shore with the down and looked to me up.
Is Aquaman based on a true story? So if we think about whales providing 70% of the frequency needed on Earth, imagine what the actual ancient bells did back in the day. Yeah. These whales getting aggressive. I gotta get me one of those. You better lock in and buckle up because you're in for another creepy video. I'm Jet Ski Chuck, and before we do anything, smash that like button and subscribe. If you're watching this on your TV, go ahead and snatch that phone, type in Jet Ski Chuck, find this video and smash it. We're gonna be diving deep on these creepy videos. So remember, keep your head on a what? Straight swivel. Let's get into it.
Something really strange is happening in our oceans, and the wildlife is clearly reflecting that. Groups of whales have been coming together before beaching and unaliving themselves, and scientists have no clue why. This specific group was located near Australia, and the general assumption was that they may have just wandered too close to shore by accident. But the exact same thing happened near Taylor's Bay, and according to the locals who were trying to help, the whales and dolphins sounded like they were screaming for help. Check it out real quick.
First stranded before 2 p.m. yesterday at the rocky beach in Taylor's Bay.
They were screaming. It is probably the thing that's stopping me from sleeping because you can hear this screaming in your ears. They were making more than a noise. They were really yelling out for help.
And even after the locals and rescue teams helped the whales back into the water, they re-beached themselves further down the coast, almost as if they refused to go deeper into the ocean. Over in the beach in Oregon, a female anglerfish washed up, which is really strange when you consider that they live 2,000 to 3,000 feet deep. And with the huge anomaly that we were initially told was a glitch coming back, people's speculation is starting to grow and theories are starting to circulate. I touched on the first theory that states that very large creatures or a very large creature, possibly Leviathan, has entered our ocean's ecosystems, eating the wildlife and scaring them as well. But there's a second theory stating that some sort of frequency device is being used or tested, heating up the oceans and scaring the wildlife. Leave a like and let me know what you think.
What's happening with our whales in the ocean? They're saying it's Leviathan.
The first thing I was thinking of was some type of frequency going off, like some type of frequency that like set off an earthquake. Yeah, something like that underwater.
You know that dolphins are one of the only animals that it's illegal to interact with outside of institutions like Marineland, etc. Wait until you hear this. Now, a Russian male midwife by the name of Igor Charkovsky helped thousands of women give birth submerged in water. And he kind of helped popularize and rediscover the fact that giving birth in water many times is a lot easier. But when they started doing underwater births in the ocean, something strange happened. Now, in the Black Sea in 1979, a woman was about to give birth. Everyone was there ready. All of a sudden, a pod of dolphins swam up to her and started swimming in circles, pushed everyone else away, and started sonaring directed at her stomach and her belly. She ends up giving birth painlessly in like 20 minutes. The baby comes out, and some interesting things happen following that baby throughout its lifetime. It turns out that dolphins are attracted to pregnant women, and they regularly will sonar their stomachs and swim around them and make vortexes in the water as they swim, which then led to coining the term dolphin-assisted births. And apparently Hawaiians have been doing this for thousands of years, and there was even a dolphin-assisted birthing center in Hawaii until they closed it down because it was unsafe. Children born in the presence of a dolphin midwife end up having higher physical capabilities, mental capabilities, IQ, etc. It literally enhances them while they're in the womb before they're born. Is this why they don't want us hanging out with dolphins, not in SeaWorld? You know that dolphins are one of the only animals that it's illegal.
I feel like we gotta look into more of the dolphin-assisted births in Hawaii. Why'd they shut that center down? We got to dive into that. We need to figure out why they shut that center down. It sounds like a miracle place, like a magical place to go to. They should have one in every state. What's going on?
Discovered something that no one thought was possible.
Paul Spong was trained in a. He was trained in a. Paul Spong was trained in a. He was trained in a college to be a whale trainer, and he became the whale trainer at the Vancouver Zoo, and he started training his killer whale there. But then after about a year, he began to realize that the whale was training him. It became real obvious to him. He says, wait a minute, the whale's actually, having more influence on his life than he's having on.
This isn't the first time we've seen this. The dolphin was training them, the trainers.
And the whale got him to tell him about all the whales that were being killed all over the world, and started to influence him to stop the whaling in the world. So what did he do? He started Greenpeace. He was the founder of Greenpeace. He got the 6 people together. It's one table, which I got to introduce with each one of these people, and got them to go out and start this movement. And he went out on the ships, and he'd been arrested like 100 times. He'd go out on these ships and just start shutting down everything. And they'd arrest him, trying to get him stopped. And they did. They eventually got stopped the whaling in I don't know how many countries. There's like lots and lots of countries that Greenpeace has stopped all of this on. And one day he came to me and he said, the whales told him, he says that he believed that he was in direct communication with them telepathically, that he could just talk to them. He could tell them in his head to do any of the things that he wanted them to do in the water, and they would just do it. And he got to the place where he just knew that it was just like talking. And they told him that there was no such thing as an individual whale or an individual dolphin in the world. They were really cells in a larger body of consciousness. And that communication occurred, that all there had to be, if there was a dolphin, there only needed to be another dolphin within a 1,000-mile radius. And that dolphin could communicate to the whole through that one. In other words, they did have a 1,000-mile limit in their communication. And this whale wanted to prove this to him. He says, I will prove to you that this is true. So he asked me if he could have my house. I had a house in 450 miles inland on this place called Kootenai Lake. And he says, can I borrow your house for the winter? So I gave it to him. And he went in, and he was going to set up a sensory deprivation tank to float in there to get still enough to be able to make the communication. But he never even put it together. And so I came back a few months later, 3 or 4 months later, and he had removed a few walls in my house. It was a funny feeling, I'll tell you. And these windows there that weren't there before and things. It was really beautiful, but it was shocking. And he had still not made contact. He said, I need more time. And I said, well, okay. So, but I was there, so we were all living together. Him and his wife were living there, and me and my wife were living there, and my kids. And about 2 weeks later, he used to have, though if anybody who knows Dr. Paul Spong, you know Paul Spong? Yeah. He's got kind of short hair now, and he looks very kind of professional-like. But he used to have really long hair and a really long beard, and in those days. And he came into the room one morning after about 2 weeks, and he had shaved his beard off on one side of his head and cut the hair short on one side of his head. And I said to Paul, I know something's up. I'm sure of it. He says, yeah, I made contact last night. And he says, I'm sure that I did. I did it. And he says, they told me that I was going to be a large influence in the world in all of this, and that I had to look respectable. He says, so today is my transition day. So for that day, he walked around half and half, and the next day he shaved off the other side. And then what they told him is the way they were going to prove it was, he said that he was to go to this bay north of Vancouver, a very specific spot, and he was to go there with video equipment and everything so that he could prove what was about to happen. And he was to tell his people, he had a whole group of people that worked with him. He was to tell them what was to happen so that there would be, like, no backing out of this whole thing. And that on a certain day, at a certain time, which I think it was 12 noon at a certain day, all the whales, of which there were about 100 of them, of this certain species, would come into this bay, would swim up to the shoreline, lift out of the water, and look him in the eyes. And that's exactly what happened. He went up there with about 30 people, and they put their microphones in the water and everything, and they sat around and they waited for this time. And sure enough, all these whales came swimming up to the shore, lifted out, and looked him in the eyes.
Is Aquaman based on a true story?
And obviously, he was never the same after that. He started the Orca Lab, which was started in that very spot, and he's been totally been immersed into whale research ever since then. And on his own, not using through the governments or anything else like he did before. And he spends all his time, I taught him how to play the silver flute, and spends all his time out in canoes with them, playing flutes to them and communicating with them, that he's now learned how to do. And so the whales have an extraordinary level of awareness. We can't really talk about it because when later I'm going to try to tell you, when I talk about the electromagnetic spectrum and light and all these other kinds of things. Dr. Paul Spong was trained in...
Who is this? We need to know. We need more information on this. It was just getting good. Wow. He learned how to talk to the whales and was out there playing his flute. Do I believe him? Yes. For entertainment purposes only.
Alright you guys, so I have a new theory that I've been thinking about for a while, and I want to share it with you guys, and it has everything to do with frequency and vibration. Now before I get into the details of what my new theory is, I do need to talk about this guy. So this is the loneliest whale in the world, and if you don't know the story of the loneliest whale in the world, it's a whale whose song vibrates at a resonance of about 52 hertz, which apparently is very, very different from what a whale's resonance is supposed to be. So all the decades that this whale has been alive, it has been calling for a mate or for friends or for other whales, and no whale has ever answered the call of this, the loneliest whale in the world, because they can't hear him. And apparently over the decades, his song has become more and more desperate and more loud as he searches and hopes for a whale to respond. Now I know that that story sounds really depressing, and it is, but it's related to my theory because I think that as we've entered, or as we're entering this new era where the vibration of the earth is rising and everything is becoming more and more intense, more extreme, the difference between people's frequency is becoming more apparent and more noticeable. And I don't want to use language like higher and lower frequency because that'll imply a lot of things. But let's just say if somebody is more on the frequency A side of the spectrum, and they try to communicate with someone who's on the frequency B side of the spectrum, even though if both of them speak English, even though they'll understand the words that they're saying, they won't comprehend the meaning behind the words. And this, I think, is why, people are becoming very angry when another person disagrees with them. People are not very good with debates anymore, and everything is becoming just very, very extreme, and people are very angry. And I think that our cries or our song is becoming more and more desperate because our frequencies, if you try to communicate with someone who's on a similar frequency, a little bit different, then that person will understand what you mean. But when you try to talk to someone who's on a different frequency than yours, no matter how much you try to be eloquent and precise in your speech, they'll understand the words that you're saying, but they won't understand what you actually mean. And vice versa, you won't understand what they mean. And I think that's what's driving a lot of people crazy these days, is it's like we're so desperate to get the other person to understand what we're trying to say, and it's just not happening. And I think it's because the difference in our frequencies is becoming more and more apparent as the frequency of the Earth and the vibration of the Earth rises. So that's my theory. What do you guys think? All right, you guys, so I have a new theory.
I think he broke it down really well when he was talking about frequencies. Yeah, I do believe that there's conflict between people's different points of views, but that's why it's also important to go by things line upon line, precept upon precept, to break things down, reverse engineer, and to come to the truth more than anything versus, A versus point B, or just agree to disagree. That's incredibly interesting because that kind of reminds me of the same way trees produce oxygen that we need. Could the whale's vibrations be doing something on a similar level? Man, this is a good episode. Hit that like. We busting down gems. A gem for you. Gem for you.
Whales have powers. The field of perception for a whale is almost the entire ocean. They can pick up other calls from thousands of miles away, and their voices carry just as far. When whales call, they are bathing 70% of the earth in high frequency vibrations, known to heal and benefit all biological life forms. These creatures play a very specific role in the Earth's consciousness. Whales have powers. The field of perception.
My friend Peter Attia, he's a doctor. He told me that orcas, the sounds that they make, their ability to detect sounds, like the frequency that they can project is similar to ultrasound. They can see through you, literally can see through you through the ocean. He goes, it's mind-boggling. My friend Peter Attia, he's a
And finally tonight here, a remarkable sighting off the coast of Massachusetts. Tonight, the incredible discovery, a rare gray whale off the Massachusetts coast. The species believed to be extinct for 200 years in the Atlantic. Marine biology researchers performing an aerial survey, spotting the rare gray whale just 30 miles south of Nantucket. The large tail out of the water, gray whales can weigh 60,000 pounds, distinguishable by their lack of a dorsal fin and gray and white spotted coloring. The scientists were so skeptical of their sighting at first, they circled the area for nearly an hour to confirm the encounter. And right here tonight,
hi, David.
New England Aquarium research technician Kate Lemley and associate research scientist Orla O'Brien.
I took a photo of it and I showed it to Kate and I said, I don't even want to say what this is out loud because I don't think you'll believe me.
And it does sound completely crazy because they're really not supposed to exist in these waters. But yeah, it was 100% a gray whale.
Tonight, scientists pointing to melting ice in what's called the Northwest Passage in the Arctic as the likely route that gray whale took.
Gray whales are usually found in the Pacific, and this whale somehow crossed from Alaska through the Arctic into the Atlantic Ocean.
Tonight, the remarkable sighting and the mystery scientists hope to study and solve.
We are hoping to get back in the air and do another survey soon, and who knows what we'll see.
A remarkable sight indeed. And finally,
What would make a gray whale leave the Pacific Ocean and go all the way to the Atlantic? In the Pacific, you would think that more quakes are popping off, so maybe that's why the frequency, it just can't deal with it. So it's trying to get on the opposite side of the spectrum.
Look, let me tell you something. I learned a fact the other day that blew my mind. Do you know how most whales die? They drown. They spend their entire life living in and swimming in a world that eventually kills them. You know why that is? Whales are mammals. Most mammals walk on the face of the earth, but the whales live in a world that they are not of. They are in the water, but they are not of the water. So while other fish can swim around for their entire life with gills breathing in the water, the whale has to come up out of the water to live. There's a life source that is not in the world that he lives in, that he needs access to. This is gonna go over some of y'all heads, but I'm gonna just say it and be obedient to what God is telling me to say. You are in this world, but you are not of this world. And I'm saying this because there's a lot of y'all who are like, yo, Russ, I'm working on my mental health. I'm working on my physical. I'm getting more rest. I'm eating right. I'm working out, but I still don't have peace. It became apparent to me that we are unaware of our needs. We know if we're hungry, we know we need to eat. We know if we're thirsty, we need to drink. If we're tired, we know we need rest. If we're stressed out, we know we need to work on our mental health, but you are completely unaware of how to tend to your spiritual needs. You are not just a mind. You are not just a body. You are a spirit wrapped up in the flesh of a man and a woman. And in this life, you need God. There's no other way around it. You need God. You need to pray. You need to worship. You need to seek his face. You need to read your word, because in this life, if you don't learn how to come up for air, you will drown.
We are part of this world, but not of this world. Oxygen levels. Filtrate 0.5 mcg albuterol sulfite.
If you needed a reason to smile today, I got you. So you remember the 52 Hertz whale. It was a blue whale that got clout because the frequency of his calls were so high, and unlike normal blue whales, that apparently he couldn't communicate with his own kind. Forever alone in the worst way possible. There's a movie about it, books about it. BTS even hopped on a track and made a song about it. Well, update, he might not be as alone as we thought. You see, back in 2010, sensors picked up calls off the coast of California believed to belong to the 52 Hertz whale. The thing is, some of the sensors were too far apart to have been triggered by the same animal, leading some scientists to believe there was at least one whale answering back. Now, it doesn't mean he has a friend, but if it's true, that means other whales actually can hear him. In fact, a lot of scientists believe that even though the blue whale's typical call frequency ranges from 10 to 40 Hertz, they can hear well beyond that range. Which would mean other whales can hear our guy, it's just their version of a speech impediment. No promises, but there's a chance the loneliest whale in the world might not be that lonely, and honestly, that's all we can ask for. If you needed a reason to smile today, I got you. So you remember the 52 Hertz whale.
Do you remember this animatronic? Do you remember this animatronic? After closing in 1962, Pleasure Island didn't take out the Moby Dick animatronic. Instead, they left it there to stay at the bottom of the pond covered in mud. For years, rumors were everywhere debating if the whale was still there or was taken out. But a few months ago, a YouTuber known as Sparkegums confirmed the myth. The whale was still there. This shot shows one of its eyes.
I think it'd make a cool ornament that is still there, just hopefully it's not endangering the ecosystem around it. Never really thought about orcas like that. You know, they're kind of like the Super Saiyans of dolphins, if you ask me. What's with orcas?
Did you know that sperm whales sleep in a vertical position? They power nap for 15 minutes at a time, with half of the brain asleep and half of the brain awake. The reason why these whales sleep vertically is to stay afloat near the surface of the water and be aware of any potential predators. Did you know that sperm whales sleep in a vertical position?
No, I did not know that. That is super cool, though.
Why are so many whales washing up in New Jersey? Just last week, a 30-foot female humpback whale washed up in Atlantic City. Over the weekend, another 32-foot female humpback whale washed up in Brigantine. She's the 7th whale in under 40 days to wash up in the New Jersey, New York area. Now, Clean Ocean Action, an environmental action group out of New Jersey, is calling on for an immediate and fully transparent investigation into the recent whale. According to the group, the number of whale is unprecedented. While the latest whale reportedly shows signs consistent with the others who have died, the group says, are occurring due to offshore wind farms, a way of generating electricity using offshore turbines that stand at 1,000 feet tall. These tragic multiple of mostly young, endangered whales is of no apparent cause, Cindy Ziff, the executive director of Clean Ocean Action, said. The only new activity in the ocean is the unprecedented number of concurrent activity by over 11 companies in the region's ocean, which allows the harassment and harm tens of thousands of marine mammals. But according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, that has been monitoring unusual mortality for humpback whales, all 174 whale category included since 2016 are not attributed to offshore wind activities. However, partial or full examinations of whales were only conducted on approximately half of the whales in that group, the government agency said. Of those examined, only 40% had evidence of human interaction, ship strikes, or entanglement. The environmental group doesn't believe it though. They say the technology emitted also requires pulses of sounds at sonar levels that can be harmful on whales, including which can lead to starvation. The group is urging the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, a government agency in charge of these offshore energy projects, to halt development to save marine life. Offshore wind farms are a huge priority and a source of clean energy, the agency said. By 2035, the administration has a goal of deploying 15 gigawatts of floating offshore wind to power 5 million homes with clean energy.
Yeah, I feel like they're definitely not telling us everything. There's some type of offshore energy beam they're sending underwater. Or is it the Leviathan?
I'm about to introduce you to your new nightmare. Meet every shark's paralysis demon, the false killer whale. It's actually a type of oceanic dolphin, and the biggest ones can grow to 20 feet long and weigh well over 4,000 pounds. Basically, they're dolphins that eat their Wheaties. This aquatic refrigerator usually eats fish and squid, but this waterproof demon will also murk other dolphins. They also do other things to dolphins. Because not only will false killer whales, let's call it tennis. Not only will they play tennis with dolphins of other species, they'll also participate in gay tennis matches. That's actually why you've probably never seen them in an aquarium, because when they're around other dolphins, they'll either fight or another F word that guidelines won't let me say. Also, apparently false killer whales have been known to roll up in squads of 500. Also, I was not kidding about the tennis thing. Because when a female bottlenose and a male false killer whale play doubles, they can end up making a baby called a wolfin. Even though its name makes it sound like a whale-dolphin hybrid, they're both dolphins. On a wholesome note, this Dollar Tree orca is actually really friendly to people, and sometimes they'll approach humans and offer them fish that they already caught. Because they can form friendships with other species, they can often bond and create relationships with humans. Like a just friends relationship. Not whatever the God-fearing this was. But yeah, falsies are friendly. Even though they look like someone tried to recreate dolphins strictly from memory. While on LSD. I'm about to introduce you to your new nightmare.
What is that?
Meet every shark's paralysis demon, the false killer whale. It's actually
the false killer whale? I've never heard of this.
A warning now, some viewers may find images in this next story distressing. More than 40 false killer whales and one bottlenose dolphin had to be euthanized last night after becoming stranded near Mahia Peninsula in Hawke's Bay. Earlier, locals had managed to refloat them before they became beached again. As Henry McMullen reports, it was the first stranding of the species here in around 4 decades.
A spectacular sight catching beachgoers by surprise. A pod of false killer whales and bottlenose dolphins.
They're coming here!
Oh no!
Fast approaching the Mahia coastline.
They're coming more! Dolphins!
This local watching from the top of the hill.
We thought, nah, this is odd, this isn't normal.
Fascination quickly turning to concern.
You're gonna get beached, mate!
Oh my god!
Oh, he's gonna get stuck.
Oh, so those were false killer whales? I've never heard of this species before. A false killer whale? Who named that? Oh, that's not a killer whale. Let's just call it false. Y'all could have did better than that.
When you see an orca killing a whale, you're like, oh, well, that's where they got their name, right?
Mm-hmm. Killer whale. Yeah.
It's because they kill whales.
Yep. And they are a whale. They're in that family.
Yeah.
You know? They're marine mammals.
Well, they kill
right?
dolphins too, right?
Yeah. They're dolphins, whales, fish, stingrays,
Sharks.
seals, sea lions, sharks. Like they're
the
amazing
captain.
predators.
But aren't they pretty cool to people in general in the wild?
Yeah. There has never been an attack on a human being by an orca in the wild, period. There have been multiple in aquariums, you know, well, there's been shows going on, that kind of stuff. Well, it just shows their intelligence, right?
Yeah.
It shows they look at you and go, nope, that's not on the menu. Like that's not something I need to eat.
But they must be hungry sometimes.
There's orcas that only eat marine mammals. And there's orcas that only eat stingrays and some other fish species. You know, for those people, you see some of those incredible photographers like Paul Nicklin and stuff like that get those images of them underwater. They're diving with the fish-eating orcas. I think a few people have been successful in diving with the mammal-eating ones, but I feel like that's a dice roll.
Proposition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you see an orca.
Oh, so that's why they're classifying the 3 orcas. Hey, y'all, we learning on these waters, man. They're trying to classify the mammal-eating ones, the fish-eating ones, because these are different orcas. That's interesting. I always wanted to be a marine. Hold on, y'all. I always wanted to be a marine biologist growing up. And I used to research all types of fish, deep waters fish using bioluminescence, the viper fish, types of crazy looking stuff, coral reef, Nemos. I never heard of a false killer whale. It's almost like they Mandela'd us on that. Am I tripping, or have you guys heard of a false killer whale? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Grab that phone and hook your boy up. We're going deep on this episode. I'm not gonna lie. I wrote down some stuff. False killer whale, orca. We need to dive into them frequencies and see what really is a orca talking about. What really is a false killer whale, man? I'm starting to think that might be a fallen angel project that went sideways, to be honest with you.
Today's your last chance to see the whale. It's an art installation that represents the disruption of our ecosystem and the disconnect between humans and nature. It's intended to evoke a sense of urgency and disturbance. The life-size replica of a sperm whale was created by a Belgium-based group of artists called the Captain Boomer Collective, and it's located in Elder Park beside the Festival Theatre until 8 p.m. tonight.
That's a great visual to see.
This 35-foot, several-ton male humpback whale was discovered this morning. I want to show you where exactly. That's where he was discovered this morning, kind of buried under the sand, and the waves were crashing over him. So crews here in the town of Hempstead had to use bulldozers and straps to get him back up to here.
Sad, but not something that you see every day.
And it's also interesting to see a beached whale, because I've never seen one before. It is pretty huge.
And you really can't take in just how enormous they are. And
along Long Island and the Jersey Shore, people, activists have been calling for a federal investigation. They feel that offshore wind could be responsible for this. The federal government has come out and said they do not believe that that is what is causing this, that this has been something, these strandings have been happening since 2016 along the Atlantic Ocean, and is something that they're trying to understand. This 35-foot, several...
Over 50 years ago, in a bizarre turn of events, the United States witnessed the notorious spectacle for around the whale. As the crowd watched in anticipation, the explosion shattered the whale into pieces that rocketed skyward. Over 50 years ago, in a bizarre turn of events, the United States witnessed the notorious exploding whale incident. This surreal episode unfolded in 1970 when the carcass of a sperm whale, weighing several tons, washed up on a beach in Oregon. The rotting behemoth exuded an unbearable stench, plaguing the nearby residents. Faced with this malodorous dilemma, the Oregon State Highway Division was tasked with the removal of the whale. George Thornton, an engineer with the department, arrived to find the whale had been baking in the sun for 3 days, its decay making it nearly impossible to approach. Traditional methods of disposal, such as burial or dissection, were impractical for such a massive creature. In a moment of unconventional thinking, Thornton opted for a dramatic solution, using explosives to disintegrate the whale carcass, with the intention of casting the remains back into the sea. He believed this approach to be straightforward and efficient. The decision, once broadcast by a TV reporter, piqued the curiosity of locals who flocked to the beach with their families, eager to witness the spectacle. Thornton and his team placed several hundred pounds of dynamite around the whale. As the crowd watched in anticipation, the explosion shattered the whale into pieces that rocketed skyward, initially drawing cheers and laughter. However, this jubilation quickly turned to dismay as a foul odor enveloped the area, and chunks of whale rained down, causing chaos and damage. Large fragments landed with such force that they damaged parked cars, even crushing some roofs. The outcome was unforeseen by Thornton, but fortunately, no one was injured. The remaining larger pieces of the whale were eventually disposed of in the ocean using bulldozers. In the aftermath, the Oregon State Highway Division faced tens of thousands of dollars in cleanup costs and damages to vehicles.
Can you imagine being there? As soon as the thing blows up, everyone's cheering around you. The next thing you know, it's raining whale guts. Man, they got lucky. No one got hurt.
Oh, ow, ow, ow. Oh, yeah. Ow. Oh, ow, ow, ow. Oh, yeah. Ow.
Wow, they did a good job. A snow orca. How about that? That's an idea.
Oh, fuck, Will! Oh, shit!
The way Kai looks at my husband-to-be when he stands up just melts my heart. Kai is such a sweet baby. The way Kai looks at my husband-to-be when he stands up just melts.
The sad thing about this is the dorsal fin. The dorsal fin isn't straight up because it's not strong enough, because this orca has been kept in captivity, so that's why his dorsal fin is slanted over. It's sad, honestly.
Melts my heart. Kai is such a sweet baby. The way Kai looks at my husband-to-be when he stands up just melts my heart.
Being close up to see this guy is pretty cool, but you know, the fact that, you know, it's suffering low key, you know, melts my heart too, you know. It's like if you wanna see him, you know, you really gotta go on like a wild excursion, but who can do that? So, you know, maybe they can kind of get away with this if they had like a facility like 10 times bigger, or made like some type of circular track system to keep the fin strong. I don't know, but the little tanks ain't cutting it, man. We got to do way better, or develop some type of open system aqua center, you know, like one where they can freely come and go, you know, and interact when they feel like it. I feel like that would be a better idea, honestly.
Imagine this whale's entire life she has been calling out into the void with absolutely no response.
Okay, you have to go watch the full video. My question is, what if this whale isn't calling out to other whales?
There's a lot of
This is Paul Watson.
Back in 1975, I was in a small boat trying to protect a pod of sperm whales from Soviet whalers. Suddenly, a harpoon struck one of the whales. She screamed and the water turned blood red around her. The biggest whale in the pod attacked the whaling ship, but the harpooner was ready and shot him also. He rolled on the surface in agony. He dove and came towards me, his head rising from the sea, so close I could see my own reflection in his eye.
The whale understood what we were trying to do because I could see the effort he made to bring himself back, and he slid back into the sea. I saw his eye disappear beneath the surface, and he died. Could have taken my life, and he chose not to do so.
That's when I glimpsed the insanity of humanity. That is why I've devoted my entire life to the defense of whales and other creatures of the sea, because these creatures maintain the life support system of this planet.
This.
The whales know he's trying to protect them. This is the real Aquaman. Is this the same guy? The founder of Greenpeace that's out there playing his flute? Talking to him? How cool is that? This is tight, y'all. This dude is out there playing his flute, communicating with the whales. They sitting there trying to harpoon him. And he's sitting there, no, on top of the whales. Man. A real life hero. That's nice. I love this.
So, Paul Watson's story, part 1. Captain Paul Watson co-founded Greenpeace in 1971 in Canada. He has Canadian and American citizenship, but he was soon voted off the board in 1977 with a vote of 11-1, and the vote for one was himself. He was voted off because he wanted a direct action approach, and that conflicted with Greenpeace's nonviolence beliefs. The other founders of Greenpeace have actually disputed.
He was tired of talking. He was on his Malcolm X. He said, look, I'm tired of talking. Okay?
That he did not co-found Greenpeace, but he claims that is a lie. And that is what propagated Paul Watson to start Sea Shepherd. And since then, Greenpeace has stated that Sea Shepherd is a violent organization whose tactics may endanger the lives of fishermen and whalers, and has labeled Watson an extremist. So, Paul Watson's story, part 1. Captain Paul Watson co-founded Greenpeace.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of Deadliest Catch, and he reminds me of Wild Bill on Deadliest Catch. So I like him, man. I don't know the whole story, but just going by what I'm seeing, I like him. He's about action. He's standing on business. For entertainment purposes only, don't come for me.
This dead whale is not likely to survive.
Its body is swollen like a giant balloon. Just a small impact could easily make it burst. Unaware of the danger, these polar bears climb onto the whale and start enjoying this feast without realizing they will regret it later. If the explosion really happens, they will surely be blown away to the South Pole. Let's see what surprises are about to happen. It turns out there was a dead whale washed ashore half a month ago. The body of the whale, which has decomposed, is filled with gas. A mother polar bear and her 2 cubs smell the meat and quickly rush over. Unbelievable. The size of the whale in front of them is like a ship, enough to feed the mother and 2 cubs for 6 months. Overjoyed, the polar bears swim straight into the whale's belly and start gnawing. But the whale in front of them seems to have turned into frozen meat, difficult to chew. They have no choice but to lick a few times to satisfy their hunger, but it cannot fill their stomachs. So the clever polar bears run up to the whale's carcass to see if they can find a way in. The weak stomach, tossed by the waves multiple times, seems to have started to rot. Even though they can hardly eat a bit of minced meat here, if they accidentally bite the wrong spot, the gas inside the whale's body will release and explode like an atomic bomb. Just as the mother and cubs are happily eating, a male polar bear also follows the scent to the scene. The male polar bear's sense of smell is very sensitive. He is able to smell food miles away. As soon as the male polar bear approaches the whale, the mother bear and cubs finally pay attention to it. It is noteworthy the territorial skills of the male polar bear. As soon as they find cubs that do not belong to them, they will not hesitate to kill them. The mother polar bear quickly leads her cubs away from the scene. Fortunately, there is no altercation between the 2 sides. The polar bear, already hungry for 9 meals in 3 days, now just wants to eat. Cheerfully swimming towards the whale, with a simple mind and strong limbs, the male polar bear begins to tear and gnaw at the carcass. The mother bear and cubs lie not far away, observing. They are also very curious whether this large whale in front of them will explode or not. In no time, all the nearby polar bears rush over, eagerly ready to eat. Just then, the male polar bear found the detonator. Everything was blown away. This dead whale is not like
R.I.P.
The Antarctic blue whale is the biggest animal on the planet. This blue whale can weigh up to 400,000 pounds, which is approximately the weight of 33 elephants. The adults can grow to a maximum length of 98 feet. The whale's heart is equivalent to a car in size, and throughout the feeding season, it eats 36 pounds of krill every day. Whales are louder than jet engines. Its calls can reach 188 decibels, while a jet reaches 140, and if you consider the average nuclear explosion's loudness of 240 decibels, it's really loud. Blue whales' whistles can be heard from hundreds of miles away. And did you know that the whale vomits ambergris, which is also called floating gold and treasure of the sea? It costs even more than gold. In the international market, ambergris costs $42,000 per kilogram. Ambergris is used in some high-end perfumes as it increases the scent's life. And now you know that. The Antarctic blue whale is the biggest animal on the
aka Pearl's mother, after he tried to flee from the scene. Before getting arrested, Mr. Krabs stumbled across the crime scene and the carcass of the mother whale and baby Pearl left all on her own. But here's the disturbing part. When a whale dies, its carcass can fuel an entire ecosystem. And so Mr. Krabs, overcome with excitement and greed, sees this as an opportunity to make a lot of money and comes up with the idea of the Krusty Krab restaurant, adding pieces of Pearl's mother into the Krabby Patty formula as the secret ingredient. But here's where it gets really dark. Mr. Krabs only adopted Pearl as an alternative meat supply in case he runs out and is trying to isolate her from her father and friends. Could this be the reason why he spoils her with so many gifts so that she doesn't end up leaving? Throughout the show, Mr. Krabs always expresses how once his daughter is fully grown, she's going to go off to college, when in actuality what he means is she's getting butchered, cooked, and served up to customers. We'll change.
Mr. Krabs wouldn't do that. Would he? We had to write that down. Ambergris.
If you're swimming in the ocean and you see this pink thing floating towards you, run the other way. This video might save your life. In 2016, an Australian fisherman, of course it was an Australian fisherman, saw this near his boat. At first he thought it was an alien creature or a hot air balloon, but then he realized it was something even scarier. I mean, what else can be scary in Australia, right? The floating pink cotton candy ball was actually a swollen whale. And when a whale meets its fate, it swells up with massive gas buildup. And what eventually happens is that the whale's body actually explodes and sends whale guts everywhere. And that can actually end your life with the force of the explosion. If you're swimming in the ocean and you see this pink thing floating towards you, run the other way. This video might...
How majestic is that? That's got to be on a bucket list. How many of you guys would be on that boat? Honestly, jump in the comments. If you're still watching this and you're watching this video, let me know. Would you be on that boat and actually witness this? This is crazy. The whole time I'm worried about that tail coming up. But that... He said, hey, y'all cool with me, man. Coasted right on by. Incredible. Would you be on that boat? Yes or no? I would do it. I would do it. Yes, I would do it. That's majestic. Once in a lifetime. Yeah, I'll do it.
This is the shocking moment a hump. This is the shocking moment a humpback whale nearly swallowed 2 kayakers. Julie McSorley and her friend Liz Cottrell were whale watching in Avila Beach, California when the large mammal breached the surface and fell onto their kayak. After being submerged, the pair fought their way back to the surface, with concerned paddleboarders and kayakers quickly rushing over to help the 2 women.
Yeah. These whales getting aggressive.
Woo! Yeah. Sure good.
Fortunately, the pair managed to retrieve the kayak and ride it back to shore. Liz said, "We got back to the car. I was shaking my shirt and a bunch of fish came out of my shirt." The only damage was Julie losing her car keys in the close call, but both survived unharmed. Liz added, "I was infatuated by them and in awe, but I never expected one to be right here in my face."
That's why I tell y'all to keep y'all head on a swivel on these waters, man. You never know what might come at you. A blue whale, anything.
Lexi Yaw thought dolphins were friendly creatures until swimming with them changed her mind forever. Out of no... Lexi Yaw thought dolphins were friendly creatures until swimming with them changed her mind forever. Out of nowhere, an aggressive bottlenose dolphin started to bite her, and then another one joined the attack. They tried to drag her underwater. It wasn't a fair fight, and the odds were against the little girl since she needed to keep her head above water to keep breathing. Could she fight them off until help arrived? Here's how to survive a dolphin attack. Dolphins are often perceived as smiling, cute marine creatures that won't hurt a fly, but like many other large mammals, if they attack, they can badly hurt humans. And trust me, they're big. Bottlenose dolphins can grow almost 4 meters long and weigh up to 200 kilograms. Today we put together a list of people who have faced the wrath of these marine creatures and survived to tell their incredible stories. What should you do when encountering a dolphin in the wild? How can you avoid drowning during the attack? And why should you never trust a smiley dolphin? Number 3. Smiley but deadly. In July 2014, a man was enjoying a summer swim on the coast of Ireland when suddenly he felt something pushing him underwater aggressively. When he realized it was a bottlenose dolphin lashing out at him, he was shocked. The confrontational creature launched at him one more time with its tail, trying to pull him underneath the water again. The man didn't sustain any serious injuries, but he was lucky to survive being drowned by one of these massive animals. Dolphins might have smiley faces, but that's just the way their jawline is. They're not inviting you to touch them or come too close. The lesson here is never to swim with a dolphin in the wild, since it's highly likely that it could attack without provocation. Instead of looking for their smiles, you should be looking for signs of aggression.
I would have never thought.
Change the way you look at SpongeBob forever. Pearl's father is actually the whale we see in the jailbreak episode in season 9, but he's actually in there for...
Yeah, I deleted this video, but I had already posted a video where I'm essentially going to be talking about the same thing. Yeah, I deleted this video, but I had already posted a video where I'm essentially going to be talking about the same things, and I got zooted and self-conscious and took it down. But no, this needs to be out here. So, I went down a hole when I was like 12, when I was really interested in dolphins, and I found out that dolphins are really obsessed with pregnant women. Like, they love, like, and other pregnant animals, but, like, specifically pregnant humans. They love that shit. And as a kid, I never really got closure with that topic. Like, I never really looked further into it. I just remember it's always been in my brain, right? I decided I needed more closure with this whole topic, and I looked more into it this year, 2022. And even today, you can go to Hawaii and have a dolphin be an active midwife in your birthing process. Yes, you can. And I think that this is where it started. I think. A man named Igor Sharkovsky assisted in over 20,000 underwater births. Eventually, he began experimenting with women giving birth in the ocean. In 1979, when preparing with his team for underwater birth in the Black Sea in a few feet of water, suddenly 3 dolphins approached the pregnant woman, pushed everyone out of the way, and took over. They scanned the length of her body up and down with sonar while relaxing the mother and swimming in circles around her. The mother gave birth to the child effortlessly, painlessly, and without fear. This began multiple projects with dolphin-assisted births that spread worldwide. Now, in my minimal research, it appears that Sharkovsky, is that how you say it? Sharkovsky? It appears that he was the one who coined and kind of created dolphin midwifery, and it did all start in the Black Sea. While I do really understand the draw and how attractive and, like, beautiful this sounds like an amazing experience. A dolphin helping you give birth and bring your child into the world. Nature helping nature work, right? I do think it was a bad idea, and here's why. There was one thing that I thought of that I could not really put into words myself that this article did a great job of doing for me. We as a race seem to have romanticized dolphins to the point where we view them as, like, different than other animals in terms of kindness and, like, mindfulness. Like, we seem to think that, like, they are very smart. They are very smart mammals. They still have those animal traits of aggression, of impulsivity, of instinct. Like, imagine you're a dolphin and there's some giving birth in a pool that you're in captivity, because most of these are in captivity. I can't speak for the ones in Hawaii today, but in the past when this was a really big deal, they were in captivity in, like, pools, little pools. Imagine some bleeding into your pool, another tiny pops out of her. You're surrounded by other in white coats, and everyone's screaming. I'm attacking that little thing that came out. As a dolphin, I would do that. I'm running. Yeah, I deleted this video.
Beluga whale, nicknamed Valdemir and alleged to have been a Russian spy, has now shown up in Swedish waters. That's according to One Whale, a nonprofit set up to help protect the welfare of the mammal. Vladimir was originally found in Norway in 2019 by fishermen who noticed that the whale was wearing a harness around his body with camera mounts attached. The harness's clips were inscribed Equipment of St. Petersburg, and along with the fact that the whale seemed so accustomed to humans, it led to speculation that this whale may have been trained by the Russian Navy. According to The Guardian, a marine biologist with One Whale speculates that the reasoning for the speedy trip could come down to loneliness or high hormones, suggesting he could be searching for a potential mate. They add it's most likely that he hasn't seen any other whales since arriving in Norway in 2019. Animals have had a long history being trained by armies or navies or even acting like spies. For decades, the US Navy trained dolphins and sea lions to recover objects from underground and also to search for potential threats. Birds like vultures have also been accused of being spies. What do you think about Vladimir and his story?
Yeah, of course, if it's in captivity, but if you have like a Hawaii center where dolphins naturally come and go when they sense something, yeah, I feel like it would be a lot better and the whole experience would be, a lot better than a captivity dolphin. But, that's just my thoughts on it.
This dolphin was learning to speak English, and that's the least crazy part about this story. In 1965, NASA funded a project to see if we could teach dolphins human language. Margaret lived with Peter the dolphin for 6 months and grew a very tight relationship. As Peter was an adolescent male, he would often have urges and would rub himself on Margaret. She decided she would just assist with Peter's urges so they could get back to lessons more quickly. They also gave the dolphin LSD. Funding for the study eventually dried up, and Peter was sent to a different facility where he grew depressed and ended his own life by drowning. This dolphin was learning to speak English, and that's the least crazy part about this story. In 1965, NASA funded a project to see if we could teach dolphins human language.
That is outlandish. But I believe it.
En el mero ombligo, ¿verdad?
This one looks in captivity though.
En el mero ombligo, ¿verdad?
I was so excited to ride the dolphins until this happened.
Oh!
Watch as the dolphins take everyone away. It's my turn now.
Get it, baby!
The dolphin kept shaking no. I was told to change. Went back no bottoms. He still says no. Instructors asked if I had any surgeries. No problem with the next person, only me. We found out the dolphin didn't want to hurt me. So I got to learn something new. And got a personalized experience. It was amazing. I was so excited to ride the dolphins until this happened.
Oh!
And the dolphin said, I smell the breast milk, so I don't want to hurt you. That's doing too much. That's intelligent. Or am I wrong? Is something else going on? Y'all let me know.
So this is what happens when a dolphin just becomes too good at manipulating humans. In the 1990s, a dolphin named Kelly was trained to hold on to any litter that fell into her pool to trade in for fish. But although her trainers thought that they'd been training Kelly, little did they know Kelly was actually training them. You see, every time a trainer walked by, Kelly would immediately dive to the bottom of the pool, pick up some litter, and trade it in. But after a while, these trainers began to become suspicious. Unlike the other dolphins that would always swim around the pool for a while to find trash, Kelly just went straight down and would always come back up with something. These trainers would only later discover that Kelly had somehow realized that if she only gave a small piece of litter, she would still receive the same amount of fish as a big piece. So she began to secretly stash all of the trash that she had found under a rock at the bottom of the pool. Whenever someone walked by, she would rip off a tiny piece of that trash to trade in so that she could always receive more fish. But the thing is, that's not even the craziest part. Kelly's trainers also later discovered that when she realized she could receive more fish by capturing seagulls, the next time she received a fish reward, instead of eating it, she placed it on the surface of the water and used it as bait to lure the seagulls in for her to catch. Kelly later even taught all these strategies to her calves, and of course they always received the most fish. So this is what happens when a dolphin just becomes too good at manipulating humans. In the
Hey, dolphins are intelligent. A little bit too intelligent.
Now, I love the ocean, and in particular, I love whales. And I think it's for these reasons. They're very misunderstood. The whale call can be heard from thousands of miles away. But there's something about the frequency of the whale call that is not only healing to the whole planet itself, but actually the vibration of the whale call is actually healing to human beings. And I would highly recommend listening to whale sounds on YouTube if you want to try and relax. Incredible, incredible beings that play a huge part in the role of this planet that we don't really understand. And you have to wonder why, if that's one of the reasons there is all this whale hunting and they want to kill off all these whales, probably. Now, I love the ocean, and in particular,
Whale sounds. Yeah, maybe we need to listen to those a little bit more often. The frequency. This is getting good. We need to write this down. Whale sound frequency. Y'all still with me, man? Let me know in the comments below. You still with me? Make it all the way through for me, man. Let's go all the way to the end on this one.
Whales aren't actually real to me, but here they are. Okay, I still have this conspiracy theory that whales aren't actually real to me, but here they are at the museum, real apparently. I guess it's just because I've gone whale watching and I've never seen a single whale. But like, seeing how big they are, how do I just never see them? I'm not saying seeing is believing, but I've never seen a whale. Okay, I still have this conspiracy theory that whales aren't actually real to me.
Okay, so today we're going to cover something super important, which is that the Loch Ness Monster is most likely a whale penis. Here is one photo of a gorgeous whale. Here is a stock photo of a whale penis. Who needs a stock photo of that? Like, why is there a Getty Images post of a whale? But anyways, scientists are now saying that things like the Kraken or the Loch Ness Monster or other sea monsters are probably just upside down whales with... This article on Life Sciences says many baleen whales have long snake-like penises. It fell on its back and was aroused. It would be visible. These whales have be 1.8 meters long and can be mistaken for a mythical sea serpent.
Whales are mammals, which means that they produce milk. Which means if we collected enough of this stuff, we could technically make whale cheese. I can already hear you guys being like, oh my god, no, that's so gross. But you don't know. You haven't tried it.
Okay, so I just read a little bit more about it, and I learned that whales have inverted nipples. Kind of cool, twins. Okay, but also I learned that their milk is already the consistency of toothpaste. Which means that their milk is already kind of cheese-like. What do you think, guys? Would you try the cow of the seas cheese? There goes Jayus, always there to ruin your day.
Breaking news in the whale world. There is a paper that just came out arguing to turn killer whales into 3 separate species. All killer whales fall under the species Orcas orcas, but there are different types of killer whales or different ecotypes of killer whales. And right now they are residents, offshore killer whales, and transient or Biggs killer whales. You can see that all of these whales look a little bit different, and their behaviors are also different. Their acoustic behavior is different. Their feeding strategies are different. So there's a lot of differences between them. Scientists have previously argued to turn these different ecotypes into different species, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked in the past. New research literally dropped today arguing to turn killer whales into 3 separate species. And in order to make this argument, scientists looked at all sorts of data, including their social structure, their habitat and movement, their feeding behavior, their acoustic behavior, their morphology, and even their genetics. The paper proposes to keep the offshore killer whales under the scientific name Orcas orca, and to give the other 2 ecotypes, which are the transient killer whales and the resident killer whales, a new scientific name. So what does it mean to turn killer whales into 3 separate species? For scientists, it honestly just means a lot more clarity in the research that we're going to be doing. Since the behavior and genetics of killer whales differ so much based on ecotype, separating them out into distinct species can help us focus our research a lot more and the applications of our research. And the applications of our research on killer whales tend to be, how do we protect these whales? How do we create management policies to protect them and make sure that they're safe in their environment? So by separating out the species, we can separate out our management practices and our policies to better protect them. Killer whales are not 3 separate species yet. This paper only proposed to turn them into separate species. In order for them to officially be separate species, the Committee on Taxonomy from the Society of Marine Mammalogy has to officially review all of the data and make a decision regarding it. So stay tuned, because we're probably going to see a lot more about killer whales in the next couple of months. Breaking news in the whale world. There is a paper that just came.
What comes out of a sperm whale's butt is worth more than gold. It's a waxy, aromatic substance called ambergris. In 2012, an 8-year-old kid found a piece that was a little over a pound and was worth over $60,000. Now, sperm whales are the largest active predator to ever have been on the planet, and they need a literal ton of food a day, and the vast majority of it is squid and giant squid. Most of a squid is easily digestible, but they do have hard, razor-sharp beaks that aren't digestible. So the whale's gut secretes a waxy ambergris to ease the passing of the hard beaks and stuff. Sometimes it just pops right out, but sometimes the mass gets too large and can cause severe constipation. Like, they might get so constipated it might kill them. If a lump does make it to the ocean, it can float around for years before it makes landfall. It oxidizes and the water in it evaporates, which leaves a hard, waxy lump that's light gray or white. In some places in the world, it's used as a medicine or a spice, but it's largely used as a fixative for perfumes. It holds onto its smell really well and has its own unique smell that people pay buttloads for. Ambergris is illegal in Australia, and it's also illegal in America due to sperm whales being on the Endangered Species Act. Sometimes what comes out of a sperm whale's butt is worth more than gold. It's a waxy, aromatic...
What the fuck is that? I want to know too. It's called ambergris. I just watched a video of it. It's really disgusting. I thought it was like a rock marshmallow, but it's not. Here's the video.
Sometimes what comes out of a sperm whale's butt is...
This is one of the rarest fragrances in the world. Extremely difficult to get a hold of, and it is every perfumer's dream. Ambergris is a substance which comes from whale vomit. Sounds crazy, but smells absolutely beautiful. It has rich, burnt caramelized notes along with an earthy, musky dry down. A few hours on your skin, and you will be smelling it over and over again. This is one of the rarest fragrances.
So I'm trying to work out what this is. I'm just down by the sea. It's kind of a waxy substance. It doesn't, well, it kind of smells sweet. It's like a candle that's melted, but it's just strange that it's in the ocean. If anyone knows what this is, please let me know. So I'm trying to work.
Ambergris, also known as whale vomit, is...
He found a good $30,000. Didn't even know it. He'll probably just throw it back in the water. Oh well.
Is floating gold. It is used in luxury perfumes to sustain the scent, and because it's very rare, it fetches a high price. Whale vomit is only made by a small fraction of sperm whales. Some really lucky fishermen off the coast of Yemen found 280 pounds of whale vomit in 2021, which was worth about $1.5 million. Ambergris, also known as whale vomit, is floating gold.
It's called ambergris. This little box just here behind me. But what is ambergris? Ambergris is nature's gold, basically. It's been produced as a byproduct of a very natural occurrence of digesting food and ejecting what's left over. It's a rather smelly substance, and it's believed to be produced by a accretionary process whereby the hard parts of their food, most commonly the beaks of squid, is actually added to or protected by accretionary substances within the gut, deep in the intestine. This builds up and eventually moves down through the whale's intestines, down towards the rectum. Eventually, some of these whales, not all sperm whales this occurs in, just some sperm whales, it will actually be ejected from the back end of the whale. There's a special ingredient called amberine, and the amberine is an odorless alcohol. If that odorless alcohol is removed from the ambergris, it's used as a fixative for perfumes. It helps the smell stay and linger long after the perfume has actually evaporated itself. The price of ambergris is actually worth more than its weight in gold. Recent prices are between $5,000 and $10,000 a kilogram. That's an excessive amount of money to pay for something that's come out the back end of an animal, I think. The largest piece of ambergris ever produced or ever found was over 450 kilos. That's almost half a ton. Think of a small car, small hatchback car. That's the size we're thinking of. The only way you'll ever experience that yourself is to find it on a beach or to come on in here to the Australian Museum Whales Horror Exhibition and try that for yourself.
Hey, if you guys are on the beach, you better keep your head on a straight swivel for that ambergris. Jet ski Chuck need a new jet ski. No, I'm playing. Just kidding. But hey, for real though, keep your head on a swivel, man. You might come up and find some.
Is it whale vomit? Never found a piece. People tell me that whale vomit is like waxy rock. Is it?
Somebody threw sourdough bread on the ocean. Is that some, y'all? I don't know.
If you are ever strolling on the beach and come across a funky-looking rock like this, put that rock in your pocket and run. Congratulations, you are now a millionaire. This is the gray ambergris, the rarest of them all, a substance produced by the sperm whales. It's earthy, musky, sweet with some slight murky notes. It transforms throughout the day, gradually softening and sweetening, creating a nuanced and delightful fragrance journey, like a fragrant roller coaster that takes your senses on an exhilarating ride, leaving you eager to return for the thrilling encore of its enticing aroma. If you are ever strolling...
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
I can absolutely explain ambergris.
Do you know that you...
Who wants a fish?
It just keeps coming and coming.
Wait! That chunk! It's the watch! I got it, Amy. I got it. The plan went off without it.
He's got aquarium property! Stop him!
Better do what he says. He's a whale biologist.
You're under arrest, you squishy punk. Oh!
If you are a lover...
People who accidentally became rich. Part 1. An 8-year-old boy named Charlie Naismith was walking on a beach in the UK when he discovered a strange-looking stone in a patch of seaweed. He thought it was a normal stone, but his dad looked it up online and discovered this was actually a pound of ambergris, which is rare sperm whale vomit. The amount he found was estimated to be worth over $63,000. In Australia, an amateur prospector was using a cheap metal detector when it started beeping. He then began to dig, expecting cheap jewelry, but he unearthed a 4.5 kilogram gold nugget. He took it to a gold shop hoping to get around $10,000, but the owner laughed and told him it was actually worth $240,000 and bought it from him. And Jeff Beidelman, a collectibles shop owner, was helping a family clean out an abandoned house because there were rumors that secret valuables were hidden inside. Well, he definitely gained good karma from that because he noticed a hole in the wall, and just as he was opening the wall to examine it, he was showered in old coins dating all the way back to 1826 that were worth between $100,000 and $200,000. People who accidentally became rich. Part 1. An 8-year-old...
What a come up. I need to get me a metal detector. I always wanted to do that, man. Have you guys ever went metal detecting? Do you got any tips or tricks? We might need to do it live one day, honestly. I love watching people metal detect too and seeing what they discover. You get all types of stuff. Cool coins. You know, it's an adventure. I love it. It's almost like if you go camping, you gotta bring one. I gotta get one. Metal detector.
And don't call wind and solar renewable when you're talking about the machinery. That's where the big cost is. It takes 100 times as much concrete to build wind farms to produce the same amount of electricity as you can in a gas plant. 100 times. And with all of these materials that are needed for all of these technologies that they are saying should happen, there isn't a single decent feasibility study, either economically or technically, to show that this can be done, what they're saying. Net zero, no fossil fuels, no nuclear. They don't like hydro dams either. So we're going to use batteries to back up the wind and solar, which means we'll have to produce 75% or so, maybe at least 2/3 of our electricity will have to be from batteries which have been charged by wind and solar. So
this is why the ancients built the structures the way they built it, to harness all the free ether in the ionosphere. I believe you don't even have to be in the ionosphere. You just have to be 90 feet up in the air to gather charged particles. Why they're not doing it, I don't. Well, we do know it's money, all for the money. But yeah, they could definitely make the wildlife thrive more if they weren't using these batteries for these windmills by the looks of it.
So when do you charge the batteries then? You can't charge the batteries when the wind and solar aren't working, which is about 2/3 of the time. And don't call wind and solar renewable.
What's the agenda then? Is this just for them to raise funds, or do you think that there's something with like the World Economic Forum talking about having a carbon allowance? What's the main agenda here?
Fear, guilt, control. Those are the three main words I'd say that are in play here. If you keep the public fearful and you make them guilty about their own actions, I say you're driving down the freeway in your SUV, you're afraid you're killing your grandchildren, and that makes you feel guilty, so you give Greenpeace a big check. And what are they going to do about it, except make a lot of BS? They're not doing anything to stop using fossil fuels. They're just trying to scare people into giving them money. That's what's happening today, and that isn't how it started. It started with very noble intentions and volunteers who understood that we needed to.
This whale can seriously injure you with sound. The sperm whale makes a series of clicking noises that can reach as high as 230 decibels. 120 decibels is painful for humans. 150 decibels can burst your eardrum. Anything above 200 decibels can rupture your lungs. These clicks can be heard by other sperm whales up to 10 miles away, and they can actually unalive a human with sound. This whale can seriously...
If you needed a reason... Now I...
So you've heard about the loneliest whale, a whale that sings at completely different frequencies from other whales. He might not be as lonely as you think. Blue whales are known to make calls that span 52 hertz, so Blue 52 isn't the only whale making those sounds. Researchers have recorded calls around this frequency in the North Atlantic and in the North Pacific, which is where Blue 52 was heard. So there are at least some other whales singing in the same key, even though Blue 52 spends more time in that range. But most importantly, we wouldn't know whether certain other whales were responding because, as far as we can tell, nobody's actually seen Blue 52. Rather than looking for the whale, researchers use hydrophones to listen for him. So all we know is that other whales haven't vocalized in the same time and place as Blue 52. But while we can't confirm or deny if another whale silently joined up with Blue 52, he could have friends. They're just the quiet types. So you've heard about the lone...
Scientists theorize that...
What is Blue 52? Oh, a whale species we haven't seen before, possibly? Interesting. Your guys' thoughts on that? Blue 52. I need your thoughts.
That certain low-frequency whale sounds can be heard up to 4,000 miles away. That is longer than the distance between New York and London, and it also means that up until the late 1800s, whales could communicate over longer distances than humans could. Scientists theorize that certain low-frequency whale sounds can be heard up to...
He said the orcas could see through you when you're in the water. Wow, like an ultrasound?
Listen to this. This may sound like metal clanging, but it is actually the sound a male sperm whale makes. Sperm whales are the loudest animals on Earth, and they are capable of creating sounds at a volume of 230 decibels, which is louder than an airplane engine at takeoff. And this specific sound that you're hearing now, known as a slow click, are only created by large male sperm whales. It isn't really known why they make this specific sound, but it is unique only to these larger, older males. And when they create sounds at their loudest, they can be heard up to 160 kilometers away. There are even some resources that state that these sounds can actually paralyze humans. And their main source of prey, the giant squid. Sperm whales create these clicks not only to hunt, but to actually communicate and also feel out their environment. Being in the water, hearing this firsthand, was an incredible experience. Listen to this.
It kind of gives me a vibe like these sperm whales are like giant bells in the ocean. And I don't know how they're clicking that, with their tongue or what. Shoulder pop, I couldn't tell you. But it sounds like these are like giant bells in the ocean. So if we think about whales providing 70% of the frequency needed on Earth, imagine what the actual ancient bells did back in the day when people was ringing them. You could use it for good or bad. You wanted to paralyze something, hit it hard. But if you wanted to feel good, you know, you get a little rhythm going with that bell.
Song of a humpback whale. Here we have the beautiful song of a humpback whale. Some of this geometry that we're seeing is just exquisitely beautiful.
Reminds me of crop circles, the cathedrals. These vibration patterns have a pattern.
Here we have the beautiful song of a humpback.
These vibration patterns have a pattern throughout all things. Cathedrals, crop circles, snowflakes. If you zoom in on a snowflake, what if all these different vibrations from the whales, the trees, the everything, you know, manifested itself on a snowflake? That's why they say that no snowflake is ever the same. Man, just think about it.
Humpback whale.
These kind of resemble snowflakes in a way.
Some of this geometry that we're seeing is just exquisitely beautiful. Here we
In 1992, the US Navy discovered the sound of a solitary whale, singing at a frequency no other whale could understand. There's a documentary about her titled The Loneliest Whale. After I realized I was asexual, it took me 3 years to overcome the shame enough to put it in my Tinder bio. When I did, I thought my voice would resound through the ocean to reach the waiting ears of someone finally like me. Instead, I wake up at 8:30 a.m. to a dick pic. They named her 52 Hertz, after the number of sound.
What is going on?
What's that sound? These clicks are the sound that whales use for echolocation. Toothed whales, also known as odontocetes, can locate objects by listening for echoes of their high-frequency clicks. The sound is sent through the water and bounces back off objects or animals. Whales are able to get information about the shape and distance of surrounding objects from the returned sound.
shaped like that so they can make these specific sounds. I gotta get me one of those. How magical is that? Shout out to Cora Flutes for that. Cora Flutes. That was tight. I need one of these. What are these called? A drone flute?
All right, girl, you got the whale. I love the whale so much, which is also one of my spirit guides too. And so the whale brings an ancient knowledge from the earth. They are the record keepers. They are the ones that know everything from the very beginning of time, what has happened and taken place on earth. So if you want to tap into your intuition more and you want to learn deeper knowledge about earth energy and energy within yourself and from past lives and everything else, whales are the ones you need to connect with. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of whales and like how the sounds vibrate through the entire ocean, and it can be miles away and them not be near you. And you can almost feel the energy in their calls when they are with their pods, I think that's called. I'm not sure. You might have to look that up. You can feel the vibration and everything. So this is fantastic. I'm so excited for you because they're also one of mine.
Yes, I agree. I believe whales are magnificent creatures, but I also believe you can achieve anything through the sun. You can move mountains. I literally believe that. I am more impressed with the creator who created whales. Very magnificent creatures. Their design, their communication. Whales are definitely of intelligent design. All praises to the Most High.
Oh my god.
You can see how strong his dorsal fin is. That is what you call a healthy wild orca.
Oh my god.
No tricks, just living in the natural life. They can sense, the people on that boat, and they're like, hey, why not? Let me say what's up to them. Even though I can do a tail whack and knock everybody off this boat if I wanted to, but let me say hi. That's how it should go. little too tough for me, but hey, I get it. You know, they might have been on those waters for 2 weeks trying to get that footage. Who knows? I don't know, but the breathing's a little dramatic.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Blue Planet got nothing on your boy, man. We really on our Blue Planet today.
Oh my god.
The tongue of a blue whale can...
Because our hearing ranges from around 16 of these vibrations, these cycles per second, to around 16,000. But our friends in the ocean, the dolphins, can hear upwards of 180,000 cycles a second and project frequencies at that level.
What we perceive depends on the pitch.
If we want to study the high-pitched sounds of bats or whales, or the low-pitched sounds of planets in the solar system, in order to do that, we can either raise or lower that sound by octaves. In other words, this is a doubling of the sound. And then you can hear it with your physical ears. In the study of whale sounds, to lower them an octave, you can then actually hear them and have an experience of them, whereas before you wouldn't hear them at all. The whales hear them, but we wouldn't hear them.
They are able to communicate and probably instill great information with sounds that we can't hear. So just because you can't hear it doesn't mean that there isn't a sound being created. And that includes the music of the spheres. Because our hearing ranges from around 16...
Didn't I just tell you?
Whoa!
Check this out, people. So again, there must be something big going on, because these humpback whales were caught making the Fibonacci sequence in the water. Check this out, y'all. Look at this. Look how beautiful that is. You know what I'm saying? And the animals communicate to us in this way. They're letting us know something is coming. Because remember all those animals earlier last year? They were all walking around in circles. The ants, the deers, the ducks. Now look at that. The whales, which are highly, highly intelligent animals. Check this out, y'all. Again, the Fibonacci sequence, that's the circle of life. Look at that, the golden ratio. What do you think they're telling us, y'all? So maybe the whales are telling us something is coming. or something is here, because you know it's the spiral, it's a motion. Everything moves in the motion, everything moves in a spiral. Either you spiral up or spiral down. So maybe they're telling us something is here. So again, what do you think they're telling us, you guys? And they were filmed in Antarctica as well. You know what's going on in Antarctica. A lot of stuff is going on out there. They don't even want us out there. But these whales are putting these beautiful symbols and messages out there. What do you think they're telling us? Let us know down in the comments below, y'all.
Just the fact that these whales eat like this and it's just so beautiful is a testament to the Most High. Look at this. They do a spiral to eat. That is amazing. The krill just swimming in the middle of that spiral, and just look how it looks from a drone footage. That is majestic. Dolphins are healers. They emit a high frequency between 200 to 150,000 hertz. This can help heal us by increasing our T cells and endorphins. Scientists have even suggested that dolphin sonar can target damages areas to relieve pain. In fact, the ultrasound has been thought to delete C cells through cavitation. A 1971 study also showed that the mentally handicapped children are able to speak 9 times more by interacting with dolphins. For entertainment purposes only, do your own research, but this is interesting.
On camera. Oh, little. Jesus Christ! Holy Jesus Christ, Darren! Should we move? Yeah. Alright. Jesus Christ, time to move. I got that on camera. Oh, little. Jesus Christ! Holy Jesus Christ, Darren! Should we move? Yeah. Alright. Jesus Christ, time to move. I got that on camera.
Potty mouse. Got to witness that. That was nice.
Did you know that dolphins possess an incredible ability to communicate using ultrasound? These intelligent marine creatures emit high-frequency sounds like clicks and whistles for both communication and echolocation. Interestingly, dolphins seem to have a special affinity for pregnant women. They can detect the physiological changes that come with pregnancy, and are particularly intrigued by the rhythmic sounds of both the mother's and the baby's heartbeats. While stories of dolphins' interactions with pregnant women abound, further scientific research is necessary to fully grasp the intricacies of these behaviors. This captivating connection highlights the inquisitive and intelligent nature of dolphins, inviting us to delve deeper into their world. Did you know that dolphins possess
Do dolphins really have healing properties? In a project where craniosacral therapy was administered to patients in the presence of dolphins, incredible results were reported. Patients reported dramatic results in their muscle tension, their pain, their sleep, and so much more. Even their ease of breathing. So the question arises, why is spontaneous healing reported in the presence of dolphins? Dolphins emit an ultrasonic frequency. This frequency is 4 times as strong as the frequency used in hospitals and clinics for therapeutic use. These ultrasonic frequencies from the dolphins harmonize with the human's natural frequency, potentially synchronizing both sides of the brain, along with exerting positive influence on the human's electromagnetic field. Frequency-based therapies are the future of medicine. We are made of energy, influenced by energy, frequency, and vibration.
Dolphins literally gotta be extraterrestrials or something. I just literally saw a video of them doing something supernatural, so profound that it literally blew my mind. I guarantee you haven't seen what I'm about to show you. I'm convinced there's reasons why they have laws in place where we can't communicate with dolphins. Pay attention. Look at this. This is incredible.
Water bending.
I literally watched this video like 100 times. Listen to this. It reads, "It is against the law to interact with dolphins unless you are at an aquarium, zoo, theme park, etc. The reason for this is not to protect dolphins, but to stop humans from developing connections with mammals that are actually smarter than us. Dolphins have a cerebral cortex that is 40% larger than humans and have their own language which we are unable to comprehend. It is considered that dolphins may have their own knowledge about the Atlantis, Lemuria, etc., which generally is hidden from the public via Vatican archives. And we know for certain Vatican City is hiding more than this information. They're hiding certain books from a certain type of people as well. And I'll leave that there. They definitely have regulated policies in place so you don't communicate with these mammals, which is insane. But if you do, and if you get caught, you can get $100,000 fine or jail time if you try to communicate, feed, etc. I guess my take on all of this, where can I go buy a dolphin? Because I don't give a damn about no policies that they have in place. I know these dolphins and these certain mammals are communicating through frequency. And it's a powerful way to communicate. And I know it's healing mechanisms when dealing with these mammals. And so it's a lot more that I need to learn. I thought that was super interesting. Like, comment, share, push me on the For You page. I love y'all, family. Shalom. I'll see you in the next video.
He said, where do I go purchase one? Nah, that ain't the move, man. It's got to be harmonized. You know, you got to go out to the beach and be vibrating high enough for them to come up to you. You know, we ain't trying to lock none up. You know, let them do their thing. And if we lucky, like a bird, you know, you go out to feed a bird, you know, they land on your hand if you vibrating good enough, you know, and eat the food right out your hand. If you're a good soul, I believe the same thing will come happen to you if you vibrate hard enough on the water. And the fact that they got ancient knowledge about Lemuria and all types of other stuff, that's interesting too. It's probably in their DNA to help us because, you know, we have dominion over all the animals, you know, so it's a coexistence that we have to have with them in their natural habitat versus locking them down. Doing the wrong test. They need to say, which direction is Lemuria? Where is Atlantis located? They said, is this a spade? Is this a clover? No, you're doing the wrong test. Let me try. Let me ask some questions.
In a study published today, it was reported that bottlenose dolphin mothers actually use baby talk to help bond with their calves and help them develop their communication skills. For the experiment, the scientists picked 19 female mothers that had recordings with and without their calves, and every single one of those mothers produced a higher frequency when they were with their calves. These frequency changes mirror the exact same patterns as human mothers with their babies. Even if these frequency changes aren't baby talk and it's not the dolphin speaking motherese, it's still a giant discovery that can help us learn a lot more about these dolphins and a lot more about ourselves. Alright, just so you can hear it yourself uninterrupted, let's cut the music and take a listen. In a study published today, it was reported
to you guys that like to listen to frequencies and stuff, you might want to try some dolphin and whales. You know, let me know if you guys already do, or if you think it's a good idea. If you don't think it's a good idea, let me know.
Listen.
Hey beautiful souls, how are you? So in the next slide, I'm going to share with you a short little light language activation healing that is done through tonality. So they're going to be pretty high pitched. I'm bringing in some dolphin frequencies in this transmission as well, which feel really, really good. But if you're wanting to take them in, I just wanted to give you this moment so you can take a couple of deep breaths and settle in, because when the next slide comes in, the tonalities will start. So if you want to just take a couple of deep breaths, tune into your body, and remember that light language is about not trying to understand with your mind, but just trying to feel into it and feel into it with your heart. So I hope you enjoy, and in the comments, just let me know what comes through for you. Instant joy in your body. Oh, they're so high frequencies. Hey beautiful soul.
Let me just start off by saying I'll give her an A for effort. the diaphragm control. I did see some diaphragm control when she was making the different types of noises. So looking at it from that type of perspective, A for effort, it sounded good. I don't know what you were doing towards the end. Kind of got more of a, the eyebrows dropped, got kind of more of on a, succubus type of tone. Hey, let me know your thoughts below. I give her an A for effort. That's not my thing, but maybe y'all can enlighten me to what was going on. With that video being done, I think it's time for me to get off these waters. Hit that like and subscribe button for me. If you enjoyed these waters, you had a laugh, learned something new, regardless, thank you for being on these waters with me. Shout out to all the Dark Waters 9 members. Membership, you can become a membership for Dark Waters 9. You can support me on Patreon. I'm trying to get boots on the ground and visit these different locations with professional equipment, get some nice footage. I need to get a drone before I do start traveling to give you guys great images of all these Tartarian pyramid-like structures. I'm gonna be traveling soon, going to different locations, giving you guys excellent quality. If this is something you're excited to see and you don't mind supporting your boy, check me out on Patreon. And yeah, thank you for another creepy video hanging with me. Let me know you made it all the way, and I appreciate you guys for watching these videos all the way through. It really helps, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And I might go live tonight, man. I'm trying to get this video chopped up, edited for you guys, and if I have enough time left in the day and it's not too late, I might be going live. Look out for it. Until next time, peace out, guys.